Okay, just a really quick video on the Weather Channel on CB radios. Some radios have the weather alert. So, NOAA weather radio, whenever there's an emergency, a weather emergency in your area, can send out a tone that activates the alert feature on a radio, not just CBs, specifically made for the weather radios, but a lot of CBs have weather feature. Now this is a Uniden PC78LTW, the W standing for weather. Now this weather board, which is right here, that's what this entire little circuit board that's actually mounted to the side of the radio, actually the side and the back, this is the weather board. Now I was just doing a transceiver alignment on this and got finished with it, and actually the last thing you do in one of these is you align the weather board. So there's actually a small potentiometer for frequency adjustment for actually each one of the channels. So you have to inject a signal into the radio at the appropriate frequency, and you adjust each one of these trimmers. There are a few other adjustments, but there's also an adjustment here for tone adjustment. But it's not so much on how to adjust these. I just want to show some of the adjustments that are on this board. It does add a bunch of more adjustments to a radio when you're doing an alignment. And this should be done. I think a lot of people miss this because I've gotten a lot of radios that somebody said, it was just had an alignment done not long ago. It was a screwdriver job, so the alignment on the CB portion, honestly wasn't done right. It was golden screwdrivered. And it was rather clear to see that it didn't have a full transceiver alignment because this board was not adjusted. Or in other radios, Cobras or anybody else that has the boards, but the frequencies were off. It would have been fine when it left the factory, but after several years, just like anything else, because you have to remember, this has a crystal, has components that can vary in tolerance over the years, the frequency can drift some. And like I say, it ends up being rather obvious. I sometimes wonder if I'm the only person that actually adjusts these when they do a transceiver alignment. So I just want to show what that tone, because I've had a few radios. I did this one, and it just dawned on me. I've had a few people ask me over the years. I had this horrible noise come out of my radio. I had to turn it off. I didn't know what the hell was it, and I asked, was it a weather alert? And they didn't know. They were like, I don't know. I was like, well, was it a loud screaming noise that about blew your eardrums out coming out of your speaker? And they're like, yeah. I was like, well, it was a weather alert. If you had your weather turned on, like on this radio, you select the channel. So you can turn it off, or you can set it to a channel. So even when it's in its dormant state, some radios, as long as you don't have it turned off, if you have it set to the weather channel for your area, and like in my area, I can pick up several of them. But if whatever channel you have it set to, if they send out a 1050 hertz audio tone, so this board is FM. Your CB, normal CB in the United States, that's AM. This is FM. So if they send out a 1050 hertz audio tone, deviation on these is like 4 kilohertz, but that will activate the weather alert feature on this. So you can hear turn the volume up here. So you can hear. I just have it hooked up to just a little antenna here, nothing fancy. So that's just barely even coupled. Now, if I turn the volume down the whole way, the volume control is basically going to become non-functional, I guess would be the easiest way to say it. When the weather tone, or when the tone from NOAA activates, that there's a weather emergency, there's just a continuous audio level that comes out of the speaker. As long as that tone is being transmitted, this radio will put out that horrible screeching noise, and that's to alert you. That's why it's called an alert. It's meant to get your attention, especially if you're like a truck driver sleeping in this, in your sleeper of your, cab of your truck. It's meant to wake you up in the middle of the night. There might be a tornado coming or something, and it's that ungodly noise is meant to blow you out of your bunk and take cover. So what I have set up is I just have the communications test set over here for the channel that I'm on. It's putting out 162.475 megahertz. I'm just feeding it with a fairly low signal, just 0.25 microvolts, 4 kilohertz deviation. But the key is I have the audio, the modulation, the audio signal is set to 1050 hertz. So, and actually if I turn the volume up, because that's not going to affect how loud that tone is, it's just going to be there. When I first hook this up, you'll hear a low audio tone. Now, I'll probably advise you to turn down your audio right now. Turn speakers down. If you're on a computer or something, it might not be too bad. But if you're wearing headphones, turn your volume down, because it's going to get loud. So as soon as I hook this up, you may hear an audio tone for a very short duration, and then you're going to hear a really loud squealing noise. So you heard that audio tone. That audio tone that first came in, that was the actual audio tone, but that's the audio tone that this is set to, and that's what that little trimmer right there is for. The one that sits right here in front of this tunable transformer. That's for adjusting the weather alert tone. And I'll hook that up again so you can actually hear the audio, and once it triggers long enough, it'll switch over. And that is the noise that some people, a few people over the years I've had ask me, they didn't know what that was. Granted, they might not have read the owner's manual, they got the radio used, they didn't have a user's manual, they didn't know it had that feature, it had the weather alert. So if they heard that tone, there was a weather emergency in their area, they just didn't know what the hell it was. Now it would have been followed by, when NOAA actually broadcast that, when they broadcast that tone, immediately after activating the weather alert system, then they'll come across with their message, and then it will cut off. And in a radio like this, it would have switched off. So even when you put, like I say, and not all radios are the same, you almost need to read your owner's manual. Some radios don't have the weather alert. They have the weather channels, but they do not have the weather alert function. And then how it's actually activated, some of them, it doesn't matter where this switch is. So if you have it in CB or in weather, if you put it into CB, there are radios that they're still always sensing, so whatever channel you have it turned to, if you have it turned to your local weather channel, anytime that 1050 hertz tone is broadcast on the channel you're on, it will activate, even if you're in CB. So just be aware, you ever get this horrible noise, that's all it is. It's the weather alert has been activated on your radio, duck and cover. Another thing, there was one other thing I wanted to cover. What the heck was it? And it had to do with the weather. I don't remember what the heck that was. In one brain cell and right out the other. So yeah, like I said, even in CB, but the key is you need to have it actually set to the channel, so if it's off, you're not going to get the alerts. As long as you have it set to your local channel, if an alert comes across, it'll come on. So that pretty much sums it up. Like I said, it didn't make this too long. I just wanted to cover what that annoying tone is, because like I said, I know people have had that happen before, didn't know what it was. If you hear that, that's all it is. Your radio has the weather alert system, and as long as it's out of the off position, this board is turned on and active. That's what it's basically waiting for, is that emergency tone to activate it. So there you go. Hope that helps somebody out and explains some of the weird noises that might be coming out of your radio.